With or without?
Who brought that up? No, I held it up. I'm holding up again, had nobody talk to me.
Okay. All right. We know about that. Okay, number 3. These are the ones that, number 3, have they paid their taxes? I made agreement with you on number 3 and number 4? Item number 3.
Item number 3, can a brother get a slice? He has signed a payment agreement.
He
But
has?
He has signed an agreement. He's supposed to be in by Friday to make the first payment.
Okay, so he's okay.
Yeah.
Same way on number 4?
Number 4, I have not heard anything on number 4.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Number 5, Mr. Mitchell.
That's me. I'm gonna wait until regular meeting,
Okay,
5 o'clock.
good deal. All right. Number 6, same way.
Yes, we're gonna wait until regular meeting. Mr. Kippy Tate was working with me on this property, so hopefully everything is okay.
Okay, good deal. All right, number 8. I think that's a good idea, Mr. Mitchell.
Yeah, so hopefully the
60-day
council.
moratorium. There's
Yeah.
something going on. I can't imagine 34 of those things being in Montgomery doing business.
And we had to look at it because we was putting so many stipulations on clubs being able to operate at a certain time, and those event centers didn't have any stipulations on time of operation, days of operation. So we just want to relook at it.
Okay?
Glenn, number 9 on you.
Number 9, we can move them.
Yes, sir, that's
anytime
that,
on
that's
August
the,
2nd.
National Night? Yes, yes, ma'am.
National Night Out.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay. And number 10, I didn't know so many people like Martin Restaurant. We got a call from Huntsville. We got a call from Birmingham. Got an email. I love that fried chicken. Anyway, this just clears this up. Like, great. They paid the money, right? Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, that's. All right, number 11. This is that Circle K on Chantilly. Close to me, everybody said okay, so. I really wish it would come in the city. That's Murphy Oil, the next one on number 12 is in the city. It pays city gas tax and sales tax. So you got an unfair business advantage on number 11. All right, both those I need to talk to number 11. He just needs to come in the city. We got some amendment on number 11, Brenda.
Do we have what?
An amendment, I see. Additional information on number 11.
Oh, that was just the police report that came in after we had prepared the agenda packet.
Okay.
Is 11 on the corner of Chantilly and Vaughn?
No. 11's right across, really kind of across from Renfro's and that shopping center there. It's not, it's in the county, it's not in anything, so.
It's in our PJ.
You really can go straight out of, it's off Chantilly Parkway, so it's new station, it really, everything on that street is in the city, on that road, in the city. This guy's got an unfair advantage. Okay, we'll talk to him at 5 o'clock, okay? Number 12 is the Murphy Oil at Walmart. Off premises liquor license for wine. Okay, I got no problem with that one. Number 13, Family Dollar, table wine, that's two of them, and 13 and 14 both got, they're all putting wine in. I haven't been in one of those lately. I'm okay with it. Okay, all right. Number 13, number 14, same thing, okay? All right, number 15. Okay, I got that backwards.
You ain't got no problem with 15?
That's you, CC.
Roll.
16 is a load, yeah. That's me.
15 is you. Look and see where that's at. You got any problems with it?
No, I don't have, that's the new, over there in the, promenade shopping center. No, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's,
Right there by ours.
yeah, I know they've been over there a couple times.
Have you?
Bring it out.
Look at you.
Is it gonna be? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Number 16 is the same thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a different location.
16 is the one over there, District 1.
Over by Jack England, isn't it?
Okay,
Old Fox and Hound.
yeah,
Can't do the first two.
okay.
You cannot enforce the one.
Number 17, tear them down. 6 coming down. Okay. Okay. I think that covers everything. Anybody got something to talk about?
Yes, sir, I have something. And I'm gonna catch Thomas Carr a little bit cold. Thomas, can you come up and talk to us? I know CC talked a little bit, y'all talked a little bit at one time at looking at those, the bins, you know, the donation bins. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
We looked at one time, or y'all had a little committee on what we could do to get rid of those things, because a lot of those, I mean, people are dumping TVs, mattresses, and everything else. I wanted to, Charlie, for us to look at if we could put something together where we could get rid of these things in the city. I mean, we have donation services all over town. People dump their just household garbage at these things.
Yeah, they
And
need to
it's
go.
becoming a huge problem.
Glenn,
Agree.
Glenn, Stacy, we worked on that. How long ago was that?
Yeah,
And-
what we did on that, and I think Mr. Carr explained it to me at our last meeting, because I have an issue with it on Fish Road that I think we went out and cleaned up on it today. We put it into the housing codes ordinance as a nuisance. So if it's on your property and, you know, it's dumping, we can go out and cite you just like it's little junk and trash.
Right.
So it gives you the responsibility to get it clean, and we go out then as abatement. But I'm with you. I'd rather get rid of them all
Yes.
together because it just gives citizens a chance to illegal dump within our city overnight. I mean, I think we cleaned it up through sanitation one on Fish Road that was put on private property that the owner knew anything about because he's out of town. And they just set it up and they just start dumping, you know, and we just need to stop it all together.
What was the issue about us? I know it was an issue about us being able to remove those, and I can't remember what was the issue. It was an issue that we ran into about actually removing those off of private property. Do you remember, Mr. Carr, what was the issue that we ran into? Because I think that's initially what we was trying to do.
It was a large roundtable discussion that involved Mickey from the legal department, our department, business license, planning and zoning, and there were several aspects that were coming into, I think, maybe approximately a 30-page ordinance. In the end, covering it all over, it was still going to fall back as a nuisance to be addressed, and I think we did the same thing with the obsolete signage as well. So what we did was add those two definitions to the nuisance ordinance, and it's a 10-day run, just like overgrown grass or junk vehicles.
And I think the big issue is, we had talked about previously requiring anybody who puts out donation bins to register them. But dealing with the ones that aren't registered, that don't have signage, who do we go after, what do we do? And when they abate a nuisance, the private property owner is the one who is responsible for the cost. We can't incur the cost on behalf of the city for a private citizen. That's why we can't go on private property and clean up their trash. Even if they say they didn't authorize it, it's not theirs. We as a city cannot go on and clean up somebody's private property unless we charge them for it.
How do we get to the point where we just get rid of them?
We're gonna let's make an ordinance.
Hadn't we already got that? Can't you just go ahead and fine them?
I mean, they abate the
But
nuisance.
Charlie, the problem with finding them is it continues to happen over and over and over.
Well, if you find that business,
It happens.
I think what we defined was that we would clean them up to 3 times, and then we would absolutely try and remove them from the property after the.
Again, can we write an ordinance to get rid of these things?
Glenn, that's something that Mickey was
Hey, Glenn,
looking at.
I think we can. You said
There was some
ordinance.
legalities of doing that, of banning them altogether.
Yeah, there's a freedom of speech issue that we can't interfere with.
but we
Donations
can't.
has nothing to
But
do
it's,
with freedom
you're
of
talking about
speech.
trash.
That has nothing, I'm not an attorney, but that has nothing to do with freedom of speech. I understand
but it's
standing
trash.
on
It's
the
not the
street.
lawyers that say that, it's the judges.
Well, but.
And it's the Supreme Court has, because there have been cities who have done that, who have banned donation bins, and the courts have come back and said, you can't do that.
Okay, well,
If
we're
they're
gonna see
trash, no.
I tell you what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw one up, and we're gonna see if our courts do it. 'Cause it's an eyesore, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, and it's the
But
same
it's
place.
trash.
That's exactly what it is. But
I
they
mean,
should not have,
we
Charlie,
we don't allow trash on property. We don't allow weeds on property. It's trash.
but if these boxes weren't there, Charlie, that trash would not be there.
Okay, but the owner of the property's
That's
got,
what Charlie's
has to
saying.
decide on that box.
That's what he's saying, that we abate it. We're against abating property. We abate your property if you don't cut your grass. So we're gonna abate the private property. I'm with you. I don't want them anywhere in the
No.
city. We have a lot of nonprofits. We have a lot of places that we can take these donations to, the Goodwill. But when we
Everywhere.
set these bins up, people is gonna violate the law and
jump.
just dump them. And we can't catch them.
Right.
Many of the bins actually have brick and mortar locations which they take them to after they.
Right. And there's plenty of bricks and mortar locations around to be taken to.
Plenty.
And just, these are trash. You keep finding these businesses long that they'll say you can't be on my property. I would think the business would say they won't allow them on the property.
Absentee landlord is gonna do
That's
something
a
big
problem.
Oh, that's a big
on
time
that
problem.
corner on Fish Road and the Eastern Boulevard. It's about to be torn down and a business is about to come there. And we just allow someone to just come in overnight and set up and people just dump. If we gonna let people dump, let's set them up at the sanitation department and take them down and then we won't have to pick it up throughout the city of Montgomery. Because it's all over and we can create
Yes.
ways not to do something that I think we need to just set up an ordinance and if the courts come against it, then when the citizens come at Montgomery City Council, we say, talk to your judges about this. Because we're trying to do something to stop it because we're getting all the complaints. But let's do something from a council, from an ordinance standpoint, saying this is what we do not. If we can defend it, we can defend it. If we can't, we can't. But it's got to be on the judges. Just like a lot of things with these bails and things that we talk about with these people doing crimes on the street, we all against it, but we keep turning them. Everybody has a right, but we have a right to have a clean city also.
Right.
And it's nothing against Thomas, it's nothing against our legal, but we're asking why can we do something? Let's just do an ordinance saying we want to outlaw these green boxes within the city of Montgomery. And if you come in here with them on your name, we know who to come out. If it say waste management, we'll come out to waste management. If it say CC Calhoun, we come out to CC Calhoun. But if it's not identifying as illegal, we should be picking them up every day. And I just want them at that. And if we got an ordinance, I support it.
There we go.
Stacy?
I would write them up first.
We said at this table before, Stacy, I asked those same.
But Thomas got a plan. It's 3
Thomas was at the Thomas was at the table
But
too.
it's in the abatement order. We
Yeah,
got
Thomas-
to abate it just like we do your
I
property.
think-
Like
Wait 10
anything
days.
else.
I think Thomas is the one that brought the ordinance of, he was instrumental in helping us form this ordinance, and I think it was a confusion of where the ordinance need to be enforced, who was going to enforce it, and I think that's why we're in the position that we're in, and Thomas sat at that table.
It's been enforced by housing code.
Yeah.
But there is no issue if there ain't no boxes.
That's true.
I mean,
That's the thing about it. We
can
could-
find a reason not
I'm
to do
not so
something
sure.
for every single
That's the
thing.
thing about it, that at that time, legal said we could not.
You go look at, go there, find the old WSFA and tell me that there's not a box over there.
Yeah, I'm with it.
And they pile
I'm with
trash
getting
over
rid
there.
of the boxes.
It's trash, it's trash.
I'm with it. I've been trying to do this for
But to get the box,
2 years, so, you know, we,
Well, at the
said it.
end of
Roll
the
it,
day,
CC.
it's the
Go with
private
it.
property owner's responsibility. Whether they know it's there or not, it's their private property.
Exactly. So you fine them, just like you would.
Fine, it ain't working, Charlie.
and I think that's what Thomas is saying they're doing. They're finding them, and they're finding them, but it goes through that
We send out
process.
so many
Thomas.
fines, nobody pays the fines.
So you saying it's not working?
No, it ain't working.
How much are we
Ask
fining them,
Thomas.
Thomas?
It's a standard administrative fee plus the cost of the cleanup. Now, and then once again, it's a 10-day letter that goes out, and we go back and re-inspect it. If they've picked up the stuff and moved it within that time frame, then they comply, and it starts over
But
another process.
do we, you
But
said
it's
we
not-
clean it up 3 times before we send them a letter?
If we go 3 times, then we're looking to remove the,
Have we sent anybody a letter 3 times? Ain't no way.
I don't know the answer to that, Glenn.
I know the
I'd have
answer
to
to
look at
that.
the data.
Ain't no way.
We cleaned up the one on Woodley Road.
Well,
And we don't charge
All
them a
right.
fine,
I
we
will
charge
bring
them an
my attorney
administrative
degree
fee.
out and I'm gonna write me an ordinance.
So the administrative fee.
May
Yeah,
not be spelled correctly, but y'all
Gotcha.
gonna understand
we
the
can't
point.
charge fines.
I got you. I understand.
Okay,
But costs have gone up. Maybe the administration fee needs to go up.
that's a good point too. But you're telling me, Thomas, you're saying they're paying the administrative fee? When you bill them, they pay it?
No.
Most of the time, we're getting good compliance on all the administrative fees across the board right now.
Okay, they clean it
Well,
up.
hey,
But if
that's
they-
a very
But if
good
they don't, we
general
clean it up,
answer.
and it still goes to a lien upon the property.
But you'll abate the property though. You will abate it, and then that cost of we moving the stuff.
That's what Stacy's saying, the only way that we can perform action on private property is if we have a means of collection back, and that's what the nuisance ordinance does.
Is there any way to find out how many nuisance abatements we've written for these things?
We can run some data on that for you.
I'd be interested.
Just don't have it tonight.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean, just like a private.
get your
Thank you,
ordinance.
Thomas.
It's just trash. Okay, I see on my desk here, there's a R&B Blues picnic.
yes, we'll be bringing it from the floor at 5 o'clock. It's gonna be,
Okay,
also have another
and then
ordinance.
what about the recreational resources at, Regency Park?
Yes, sir, we'll be
Bring
bringing
it
it
up.
from the floor,
Thought-
5 o'clock.
Okay, all right, good deal. Explains what I got piled up here, okay. Now, Chip, y'all had something you going, from the city mayor's office? You had an ordinance?
CC,
Resolution? Oh, CC got it?
What's
Okay.
that?
what you bringing from the floor?
Yes,
Bring it up.
everyone has one?
Yes, sir.
And it's a resolution to allocate the American Rescue Fund based on what our lobbyists is telling us that we need to use it. This resolution does not say we're gonna start spending the money. Everything that comes out of it, it has to come back before the council. I think the county passed one, I don't think at their last meeting this morning, and we need to do something to coexist with what they're doing on our ARPA funds.
Okay. All right, we'll bring it to the floor at 10. Okay, good deal.
Hell, I didn't get it.
Anybody else got anything?
I have,
Yes, sir.
one other thing. Mike, I want everybody to, you got it for me, Mike?
Did you get that thing to Chip on?
Yes, I want the video, no sound, Mike.
What's this?
Another one. Oh, yeah, it's two. You had one, two already, right? You need both of them?
What's this right?
Oh, right.
I didn't see one. Which one? Did you give me one?
So, Mayor, this is what we are seeing on a regular basis in Montgomery Public School System. You know, our resource officers are stretched so thin, and as you can see, there was a Montgomery Public School System security guard. Mayor, he's not equipped to handle stuff. Can you show the other video, Mike? That's at your school. Mayor, when I say the gang activity in our middle schools and high schools are spilling in, it goes from the schools, it spills into the business that are complaining. And Mayor, I just make sure that we have a good conversation. I know the superintendent is coming in, and I just want to make sure that he's aware of what's actually going on in our schools that's starting to spill over. Now I'm seeing more of this activity spilling over into our neighborhoods. We have one school, McKee and Bellingraph are bussed over to Lanier. And you have a gang called the Get Back Boys. They are from Bellingraph, and they fight every young man that comes over from McKee. And we have some great resource officers, but we do not have enough, especially at our 5 schools that I have the most reports on. It's going to be, of course, it's going to be Lee, it's going to be Lanier, it's going to be Bellingraph, it's going to be Goodwin, and maybe McKee. And Mayor, I just want to make sure that the council understand that we need those resource officers in our schools, especially those resource officers. We have some real good ones. I appreciate Officer Thornton at Lanier. He calls me anytime, but I'm doing a lot of due process on these kids in situations like this. So I just want to make sure that we're aware of the gang activity that's running rapid in the public schools at this time.
That's helpful, and I appreciate you bringing that point. Let me ask this question. In a recent conversation with the chair of the school board, we talked about their partnerships in our community centers. You all expressed a lot of interest in making sure they were on board what we want to do in our community centers. She was very receptive to that and was very open to what our ideas were. And what she asked me to do as it relates to community centers was what type of programs would the city council like for MPS to partner with us on in our community centers, and to give her a dollar amount or an estimate. So that was my homework assignment to bring back to you all. In my next conversation with her, should I be asking her about what are their plans for additional school resource officers for the summer of the upcoming year, or what's the ask for MPS at this time?
So, Mayor, Keith Moore did a in-service because initially Montgomery Public School System didn't want to acknowledge that they have a problem. And Mr. Moore did a in-service, and when I say probably out of the 56 schools there, probably maybe 6 principals was at a school on, you had Montgomery Police Department that was there that was giving intel. You had the sheriff department that was there to give intel. So the biggest thing is if they would partner with Keith Moore, Office of Crime Prevention, to make the staff aware to be able to identify these individuals and identify them early. And I think that's the biggest thing, that they won't even accept that we do have a problem. And most of those kids, Mayor, just to tell you the truth, no matter what program we do in the community center, so it has to be done in school, at school. And that's where we're going to get most of those young men and young ladies as well, that the school system will have to put some resources in identifying and make sure we get these individuals early.
Hey, Mayor, let me just comment on that. And we know what the school board money for Auburn funds that they had and what they talked about. And in their plan, they talked about building gyms at every, I think, elementary school. So when we're talking about reinvesting in our community centers, we can put, their thing should be, hey, how can we put these programs in these gyms? Because that's basically what we have, and we partnership with that. And I can agree with Mr. Mitchell, until you realize and identify that you have a situation or a problem, you're not going to fix it. And so that's part of the problem that we have. I mean, he called them gangs, I just call them, just roundabout wanna-be thugs and wanna-be boys. But, when you got to put 5 and 6 on one, that ain't no real fighting. You know how we did it back in the day.
Right.
So, those are the type of things. You got to identify what your situation and your problems are, and you got to face it. We can't hide behind that, because these type videos go on every day in Montgomery Public Schools, from our middle schools, elementary schools, because it's just like they're running wild. And it's like anything we do in community meetings and with these things we do in the school, those kids are not coming. until we put that in a curriculum where it's called conflict resolution. You have the Alabama National Guard here in this state that's trying to do things within our schools. It's not just in Montgomery, it's in all our inner city schools, but we have to partner with these people that can come in and teach these programs, and we got to identify those folks.
Very well.
You know, and that's where I'm at. We got to partner on how we spend that money and put these programs. It's not just a city of Montgomery problem. Thank you.
Okay, anybody get anything else?
I just passed out one more, and it's on the We Thank You weekend thing. We're gonna bring up this special events liquor license from the floor.
Okay, good deal.
Good deal.
All right, we'll adjourn till 5 o'clock.